Hello, friends. Today's episode is brought to you by From Within Records. I hope all of you enjoyed Hardcore Pride Weekend as much as I did. It was insane and well worth the trip. Shout out Carter, shout out From Within Records, shout out Lennon, Plead Your Case, Bob Wilson, Rebirth Records, Dylan, Takedown Records. Shout out to all the record labels. It was so awesome to be able to travel to Pennsylvania and see so many friends. Shout out Jeff. I loved being able to hang out with Jeff again. That's always a pleasure. Shout out Feet First. It was a great experience. And like I said, I hope everybody who traveled from afar, who traveled locally from wherever, I hope all of you enjoyed your time that weekend as much as I did. So many great memories. Gridiron at Bonks, Pain Clinic at Bonks, that was insane. The Secret Scarab set, which I still am just in awe of, because I was bummed that I flew in the day after their first show. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll get to see them later in the year, maybe next year. But when I got word that they were doing a secret set on day 2, I got excited. I wanted to tell everybody, but I wasn't sure who I could tell. So I just kept my mouth shut and just waited patiently. It was awesome. So shout out to Scarab. Go pick up a vinyl. I know the red colorway is sold out. Maybe there will still be some black available at the time of this recording, but please support Scarab. It was seriously such an awesome time. The Lennon interview should be out at some point soon, so please keep an eye out for that. And once again, thank you, Jeff from Feet First, for helping me out with that. Thank you, Lennon, for taking the time during Hardcore Pride Weekend to record that with me. It's truly appreciated. But head over to From Within Records Big Cartel. There's some leftover merch from Hardcore Pride Weekend still available. So do yourself a favor, if you weren't able to attend the fest, or if you did and you didn't have time to pick up merch, please head over to the link in the From Within Records bio and pick up merch before it's too late. If you're not following From Within Records on social media, please boot up your Twitter, your Instagram, click that follow button to stay up to date on all the current news. And like I always say, please support From Within Records because they support us. And I want to give another big shout out to Good Fortune Printing out of Pennsylvania, out of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. For anyone who follows me on Instagram, or Nick Bertles or Alfredo from Adrian, we did a very awesome collab, and I'm very happy with how it came out. High quality stuff. So thank you again, Good Fortune Printing, for helping me out with that. So for anyone out there who's looking for high quality merch for your band, for your business, please hit up my friends over at Good Fortune Printing. You can follow them on Instagram at Good Fortune Printing, or you can email them contact@goodfortuneprinting.com. On today's episode, this is another way for me to show my eternal love for Pennsylvania hardcore. I'm so happy to have been able to have AJ from Facewreck back on the podcast. Tomorrow, April 1st, 2023, this is not a joke. Tomorrow, pre-orders go live for the new Facewreck album titled Joke's on You. AJ was gracious enough to take time out of his day to come on the podcast and speak with me about the new record, what he's been up to, what Facewreck's been up to. It was truly an honor to be able to have AJ back on, someone that I respect. I love his band. I love what he's doing for hardcore. It's truly amazing, and you'll hear it at some point in the podcast. There is a Pittsburgh trip in the works, so I'm very much looking forward to finally getting down there. Maybe we can catch a Steel Nation set. Who knows? But get down to Pittsburgh. It's going to be awesome. But please do yourself a favor. If you're not familiar with Facewreck, hit pause, boot up your Spotify, your Apple Music, your Tidal, Bandcamp, YouTube. Go listen to the new snippet of Facewreck. I know that they put it on their Instagram, their Facebook, but also go check out what they did right before that with the 3 singles leading up to this. It's amazing. So please support Facewreck and then come back here and strap in. Enjoy this conversation. Without further ado, welcome AJ to the show. to the podcast. AJ, how's it going?
Good. Live is in like real live or just like we're starting?
No, just as we're starting. I don't know. I got into this really bad habit of saying "and we're live," but we're really not live. We're just recording.
Yeah. I was gonna say if we're live, I gotta choose my words more wisely. That's all.
For sure. Yeah. No, we're just recording. But I'm happy to have you back. So thank you for responding to my text. If I'm being honest, I reached out of the blue, not even sure if you had the same phone number, but luckily you did. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm available whenever we're not, in the home stretch getting something ready.
Okay. And I want to ask you about Facewreck. It's been a minute since anybody has heard anything. Obviously, you just dropped that snippet for the new song coming out, but it's been July 2022 is your last show, if I remember correctly.
Something like that, yeah.
And
we did 3 shows last year, which was 3 more than I expected. So,
and I'm just curious, for being a fan, why were you guys so inactive?
4 out of 5 of us own our own businesses. So getting together is essentially impossible, especially somewhere outside of southwestern PA. But yeah, and currently we still are in search for a drummer, so that doesn't help things either. But yeah, it's life gets busy quick whenever you're on the other side of things, putting on the shows, and everyone, like I said, everyone else got their own businesses as well. So
yeah, I've since we talked last, I've booked some shows, and I recently retired. So this is breaking news for anybody who's listening. Please don't hit me up for shows. I'm no longer booking shows, and that is not a lie.
Breaking news.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I obviously, going into it, I knew that it would take some work, but just all these unforeseen things that came up, and how political some things can be, it was just something that I didn't want to deal with. I love hardcore, but dealing with what I was dealing with was just making me hate certain things about hardcore. I was like, I don't want to do. I just don't want to deal with this. So I'm just gonna step back and let other people handle that.
Yeah, it can drive you to your breaking point really easy.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting, but it was fun while it lasted. I'm happy to have been able to provide a place for all the touring bands that I booked. I'm happy that everybody got paid. There was no issues. But at this point, I'm just gonna bow out. I'm gonna continue to do the podcast, support bands, labels, whatever. But I'm not gonna book shows anymore.
Who were you booking? Who were some of your favorite shows?
Honestly, my favorite show had been the first show that I booked, just because my friends play in this band called Anxious, but they were on an off day, but they also do this straight edge band. So I was like, hey, please do an off day show with your straight edge band, and they were down. So I was pretty happy about that. But then last minute, one of the bands that they're on tour with asked if they could play this band called Higher Power, and I was like, yeah, of course you could play. Like, why would I say no? That's crazy. And it was just a really good turnout, and a crazy experience for doing it the first time. That was probably my favorite one, just because it was the first time doing it. But one of the most memorable ones was I booked Shackled from New Jersey out here in Orange County. And that was just something special for me, because I was, I still am. I'm just a big Shackled fan, and those are my friends. So to be able to see them on the West Coast for the first time was amazing, because normally I'm flying out east and seeing them in Pennsylvania, Florida. So to be able to have them in California, it was really fun.
That's cool.
Yeah. But 4 out of 5. So you're looking for a drummer. Are you looking for anything specific, or is it just anybody who can play the drums? Because I'm sure somebody listening to this is gonna probably be interested and want to hit you guys up to maybe try out.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, I'm a drummer. Actually, 3 of us are drummers, so we're kind of picky, to be honest. And I think a lot of the songs are very percussion driven. But I guess I should say, when I said we're looking, this is I guess the first time I'm even saying it. So I guess we're not looking too hard. But there's some shows coming up that we're going to be doing, obviously, with the Reese's new album. Which, by the way, when are you putting this podcast up? Should I just talk like the album's already out, or?
Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to leave that up to you, yeah, because obviously, you said you wanted to drop it around the time of the release. So, yeah, this could come out, the day before, the day of, or after, whatever you prefer.
Yeah. Well, we are putting out for pre-orders on April 1st. So let's pretend like it's March 31st or something, right?
You got it. Okay, so pre-orders go up April 1st, and obviously that's a peculiar day. People don't want to get got right with these April Fool's jokes. I tend to not take anything too serious on the internet that day. So obviously, I'm assuming with the title of the record has to do with why you picked that day.
Yeah, something like that. You know, there's always some layers to what we're doing, but yeah, I mean, we're putting a pre-order out April 1st. Album will be out the 21st. I guess if you believe that it actually exists, you should order one, and if not, just wait and see, maybe.
Okay, and I have to ask, so pre-orders go up April 1st. What kind of turnaround time for vinyl and all that?
Yeah, we're probably not doing vinyl. I mean, coming from a guy who owns a record store, this may be surprising, but I don't really think it's worth it, to be honest. It's, you know, if we do, it'll be a super short run, just something if enough people ask me to do it, maybe we'll do it. But I'm a CD guy. I think they're more affordable. I've maybe went on this rant before, but like, I don't know, hardcore and punk rock, the whole, I get it, vinyl is kind of tied in as like a tradition or whatever, but like, that's because hardcore and punk bands couldn't afford to put out CDs in 1983 when it was like for Billy Joel, you know, and Elton John. Like, I think it's actually a little silly to be like competing with Taylor Swift and whoever else trying to get your record into pressing plants, and you know, the wholesale cost and everything is so absurd. I don't know. I'm a CD guy through and through, so that's what we're putting out. We did a 7-inch on the last one. That was kind of, I think, right before this whole insane vinyl boom really took off, you know, over the shutdown and whatever. But those things cost us like almost $10 a piece to make. You know, if you're doing like short run stuff that's actually nice quality and it's not, you know, photocopy or whatever junk, it's borderline not worth it. Like I don't want to sell a 7-inch for $15, you know. So, and I don't know. Things have changed in the past few years, though. Like, you know, I think in my record store, I would say the average cost of a new record retail is $30. I mean, that's most, you know, Triple B, closed casket, everyone days. That's most where the LPs have to retail at. So, you know, hip hop goes up to like 40, 50. Same with metal. You know, it's only the real at this point, like very creative and thrifty punk labels that manage to put a record out for under like 20, $25 at this point.
I was actually having this conversation with some friends the other day because they're on a label and the label is pushing for 12 inches over 7 inches because they feel like it's easier for them to make their money back because kids wouldn't want to pay $20 for a 7-inch, but I feel
I want to, you know, I don't want to pay $10 for a 7-inch, to be honest. I know the reality of it. I'm on the, you know, the other side of it, but that's, you know, I'm still a collector. I still, you know, have I guess the memory of like, oh, 7-inch should be $5 and a record should be 10 or 15, but it's just not the reality anymore. But with CDs, I mean, our CD is going to be $10, like full length album for $10. I mean, that's that sounds more appealing to me, especially when the shit's going to be floating around for free on the internet. So I don't know, CDs just make more sense to me. I think they're, I don't know, it's just hardcore and punk rock should be doing the opposite of what everyone else. So it's like, all right, well, now that Adele wants to press 500,000 albums, maybe we should be putting out CDs again because they're like dirt cheap to make.
No, I definitely agree, but I'm curious. Okay, so these pre-orders go up. You're putting it on CD format. Will there be any like you know, special items that come along with it, or are they just pre-ordering the CD?
Yeah, I don't know. There might be some other stuff up there. We kind of fly by the seat of our pants over here. There's a lot going on. The band, unfortunately, kind of comes lower on the ladder of priorities right now, but there'll be something up there, I'm sure. Okay. I know it's being released in Japan by Retribute Records. Hero from Low to the Grave. He runs the label, the distro, the record store, Nerds Records. There's some exclusive shirts and designs for over there. You know, the CD's got the Obi strips, all the cool stuff that makes Japanese releases cool. But you know, I don't know. Okay. It might just be the CD. There might be a shirt. We'll find out April 1st, I guess.
Yeah, I'm really curious because above my head right here, these are all K-pop albums, and the CD and like the music, right? That's like probably like the least cared about thing in the packaging because, like you said, like, you know, you can stream it. It's out there free for people. So obviously they're buying it because they enjoy the artist, they like the music, but really they're buying it for what comes with it. They have these little picture cards. I have one right here, like these random little picture cards or random like accessories. Like the coolest accessory I've ever gotten is actually in this pink box. It's right here. It was like a rubber stamp, and I'm like, wow, this is so cool. And the fact that it's CD, I'm like, I don't even care.
Stamp up?
It's a little like a heart logo.
Yeah, what'd you put the stamp on?
Oh, I bought like 4 copies, so like I think like 2 of them are sealed right here, and then I have a floating open one. It's like way up here, you can't see it. It's like
got a dog. You put a stamp on a dog, something,
Yeah, I don't know what I would use it for, but just to have it, I just thought it's like a really cool accessory. So like I always wonder why, and I get there's a cost behind it, but I always wondered why bands don't really do it that often, because obviously there are bands who've done cool stuff before, but it's not a common thing in hardcore.
Yeah, I think once people realize that, one physical media format's kind of the same as the other, and if anything, I think the CD makes more sense because you can actually get digital files out of it, something useful. Do some limited packaging, some like you said, some little bonus item, whatever. It's just as cool as a record. We went all in, got this like really nice 8-page booklet that is, everyone I think always takes the cheapest route possible, but we actually take some pride in the full package. I don't think there's anything super limited we're doing, but I think just the actual item itself had some actual care and attention put into it. I think that's something we like doing on our end. That feels fulfilling.
And are like before the record comes out, are you gonna have to like ship them out to like other like record stores, or like how does all that work? So I'm not too familiar with that.
Yeah, in the U.S., I'm just handling everything. I'm capable, with us running the store the way we do. I'm at the post office every day, so we just handle that ourselves. I don't really see the point in having any labels in the U.S. do anything that I can't do myself. Not trying to throw any shade because I'm friends with most people that run labels. I get why things work the way they do, but I don't know. I'm an adult. I can afford to press an album. I think that's kind of the extent of what a lot of them offer, other than maybe like some namesake. If you're on certain labels, obviously you grab attention when you get put out on Triple B, Closed Casket, Days, whoever else, but it's not really what we're going for, interested in. So I can put a CD in someone's hands. You know what I mean?
100%. And you mentioned Japan. What about any other international countries?
Hero, his Retribution network, they, anyone in Southeast Asia, I think, he gets orders from all around the world. So that's, he's one of the few people I see doing something that I think is like really impressive and something that I want to, I guess, be associated with. I like what they do over there. He makes a point. When he puts out your album on his label, the biggest record stores and CD stores over in Japan are going to have it like not only in stock, but they're probably going to have it like on display or maybe in their listening booths, which is something they still do over there. And yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, it's something other than just like fronting the whatever $800 it costs to like press a CD, or I don't know. I don't see the real value in like essentially giving someone the rights to your music for all eternity to just simply front you a couple $100, couple $1,000 and give you like 50 copies of your record. I don't know. That doesn't seem worth it to me at this point in life, at least. Maybe when I was 15, that sounded really appealing, but
yeah, because I feel like that amount of money seems like way bigger than it actually is.
Oh yeah, then some guy, age old tale, certain bands, I'm not at all saying I expect this to happen to my band, but you give someone the rights to your album, you think it's no big deal. Oh, I'm just excited someone cares, blah, blah, blah. And then something happens, you go viral online, or you become this legacy band or something. And then for the rest of eternity, anytime this dude, feels like racking up an extra $1,000 for his pocket, he just like represses your album, or he's going to sit back and collect on your Spotify royalties forever. And yeah, I don't know. That's not worth it to me.
Yeah. I have a friend who's in a pretty popular band, and I would send him pictures of like, like local kids wearing his merch. And he would tell me, he's like, dude, they didn't even get approval on those designs, and we see $0 from those like merch sales. I'm like, that's crazy. So it totally like I kind of changed like the way that I thought of like those shirts when I see them, in certain shops.
Yeah, that's a thing. The money's whatever. I mean, there's no real money in hardcore, unless you're, one of these top 5% or whatever. But like, also the creative control. I don't want someone putting out like a dumbass shirt or like the cheap, flimsy, like quick, low budget 7-inch repress. I don't know. I like controlling the art that I put all the time and effort into creating.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, because I've done like collab shirts with bands, and I like, and they get like really like particular with like designs and whatever, and I'm happy that they want to be like super involved, because it shows that they care so much, and I totally get it, because they wouldn't want to be tied or have something represent their band that they think is whack or they're not down with.
Yeah, sometimes you want to make shit disappear too. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fortunate in that I stand by everything I've ever put out, released, but I know situations where bands would like some old material to disappear and they don't have the ability to, because someone else is collecting that fraction of a penny every time someone streams it or whatever.
Yeah, which is crazy. But it makes sense. I feel like that tale of bands getting screwed over or signing over their stuff. I feel like it's happened so many times where I feel like newer people should learn, because there's so many stories like that out there.
Yeah, and it's as with anything, there's always a trade-off. It's like, whatever. If I don't know. I'm sure there are labels that are offering fair deals. I'm not saying everyone's like manipulative and horrible or anything, but like, I don't know. I think what most modern, kind of DIY hardcore labels offer is just nothing that I really need at this point.
100%. No, I totally can see that being a fair point, because labels can get weird.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, no one. I mean, think about bands that sign deals, or they probably didn't even sign deals, or if they did, handshake, whatever. But even what 10 years ago, let alone in the 80s or 90s or early 2000s, even, who understood the notion that like, oh, streaming royalties can roll in forever? You know what I mean? Like, you hear I just said it myself, fraction of a penny. You think, oh, what the fuck? There's nothing there. I'm shocked at the checks that Facewreck gets cut every year or whatever from Spotify royalties. So, and we're a fucking glorified local band, so it's just like, I'm sure those bands that go out and they fucking tour and they get on whatever playlist and they're doing the fest circuit, like there's probably some real money in that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I've heard some numbers and it's pretty interesting.
No one's retiring off of it, but you could probably like send your when you got to front the money for your whole band to get flights for a Euro tour or Japan tour or whatever. I mean, that money's there.
And so you mentioned Spotify, but what about like Apple Music and stuff? Are you seeing checks from those other platforms as well?
Yeah, I'm sure everyone, anyone knows this, but yeah, they're just multiple services. We use DistroKid, literally because I like the word distro. But there's plenty of services like that they just make everything available simultaneously on all platforms. So that's just like culmination of everything. They just kind of put it together and cut you a check whenever you ask for it.
For sure. That is crazy, yeah, because just a couple of years ago, streaming, because you got to think about even like Spotify, like they're like number one with the podcasts, and just a couple of years ago, they didn't even have podcasts on Spotify.
Yeah.
So pretty interesting trick, but I want to continue on with the new record. You guys put out these series of singles, but they weren't singles. They had, they came with 2 songs. And on the second one, Joke's on You, is that song going to be on the new album, or is it just a coincidence that they have the same name?
Yeah, so this full length is a combination. It's probably half new songs, half songs from those singles that all got, remixed, remastered, the whole 9 yards, some vocals redone or whatever. But yeah, we never got to do the 4th single on it. So we were actually booked. We were booked. Like I had the flights booked, hotels, everything. We were set to go to Japan at the end of 2020, which obviously got canned. The whole thing was like a build up. We were going to have the 4th single out by the end of the year and then take them all over and do this whole thing. And then that obviously got postponed. Life got crazy for everyone, but especially for me, and got involved in all these other things going on in life, and finally had I don't know how I squeezed it in amongst opening this concert venue. So we squeezed some songs out. Some things in life happen that, get you motivated artistically. Got me back to, I will say the I guess newer songs are definitely angrier, definitely maybe back to some earlier Facewreck style. But ultimately the album's got a good flow to it. It's one of the hardest things in the world in my mind to like write a hardcore full length that people actually want to listen to the whole way through.
Mm-hmm.
And clocks in at 27 minutes exactly. And I don't know. I like to think it's got a flow to it. I hope my goal is to write a full length that someone doesn't hit the skip button on. So I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah. Well, I can listen to single 1 through 3 no problem, because I think it's awesome.
Yeah, everyone loves the 15 or 20 minutes worth of music that a band plays live, but sitting down and listening to a whole full length of, let's face it, in the grand scheme of music, the same thing for 20-30 minutes, it's kind of a challenge to pull off. So I think there's a reason a lot of hardcore bands do what's the typical lifespan? Demo, 7-inch. No one does splits anymore, but EP, and then full length that no one likes, and then you break up. So hopefully we're making it past that life expectancy, and hopefully this is something that has some actual listenability to it.
Yeah, if it's anything, if those newer songs are anything like those singles, I think you guys will be fine.
They're actually totally different, but intermixed with everything, I think it makes for a good listen. It's not just a collection of songs. It's got a flow to it, I like to think.
Okay, well, I'm definitely really interested in checking out the full body of work once it's actually out. But going back to 2020, and you mentioned there's supposed to be a 4th single. The pandemic and all that happens. You never just wanted to just put it out and let people consume that.
I definitely wanted to. The completionist in me hates that we didn't do the 4th one. We had the artwork and everything, but I don't know. I was just very bummed out at that point. Like, I said as soon as we started the band, I was like, I just want to tour Japan, and then I will feel complete, and then when that got put out from under us, it was just like, fuck this, so yeah, I guess this is part 4, right? Just 3 years later. It is crazy how quick those, like, I guess 3 years now went by. It feels very strange.
Yeah. When I think back to those years, and obviously weird vibes for everybody, there didn't seem like there was a light at the end of the tunnel at some points, but here we are 3 years later, and for me out here in California, things are pretty much back to normal.
Yeah, California was fucking worse than the US, at least, man. I feel bad for anyone that lived out there during that shit.
Yeah, there was a point where me and 2 really close friends were just like, fuck this, and we did like this random road trip to Texas, and it was pretty interesting because we went California, Arizona, New Mexico, and then Texas, and it was like alternating. Like California was like super strict, closed mask policy. Arizona totally fine, like we were looked at like weirdos for wearing masks, and then New Mexico, they were super strict, and then on to Texas, nobody cared. So it was definitely pretty interesting to get out of our state and see what things were like, in real time.
Yeah, I did something similar. I was in Texas like the first day that like stores were allowed to open, because I was just in the mood to go record shopping. I fucking drove to Texas, and yeah, same thing. I went through whatever. Mm-hmm. Ohio, West Virginia, fucking Tennessee, everything on the way down, and yeah, it was definitely like flip-flopping the whole time. But
how long is that drive to get to Texas from where you're at?
I don't fucking remember, 17 or something. I was looking for some reason to go somewhere, you know what I mean? So stopped by the Branch Davidian compound. That was something I wanted to do for a while. That was a good experience. So it was an interesting time to live through.
Yeah, no, I think back and just the things that we went through, it was definitely not something I ever expected. But for you to drive that far to record shop when you own a record store, like, to me, that seems pretty crazy.
Yeah, like I said, yeah, I'm sure everyone can rewind in their head, and if anyone, thought that it wasn't what it was cracked up to be, and you getting some cabin fever, ready to get out. Yeah, it was literally like day one that all these fucking places opened. I headed down south, so.
Mm-hmm. I remember during the lockdown and everything, and there was all these talks of secret shows. It is okay to talk about because wasn't there one out your way?
Oh yeah, I don't care. We talk about whatever. I didn't care if people talked about it back then. I just didn't highly publicize it because I knew too many people were going to show up for the spot because like no one was buying that shit here. You know.
What was that like? Did you guys take any precautions? Did you guys even care? Or like, what were the vibes like? Because I heard about it, but I just obviously I didn't really know about what was going on or what the rules were.
Oh yeah, everyone heard about it. Everyone had something to say about it. But now, we're friends with Mahmood, who runs Reverb, which is one of the most legit venues in this country. I think they're like somewhere around 2,000 cap. It's like a big fucking place, but he owns the building. Like obviously, as everyone remembers, the government wasn't even offering the slightest indication on what they were going to do for people in our situation. Keeping in mind, I bought my building that I'm currently in. I signed that final paperwork like 2 days before this shit went down.
Oh wow.
So, and I took my life savings down to like $300. So that was like, I bought the building with cash. I was depleted, which was scary enough. And then to find out that like, oh, everything shut down, and who knows the future of live concerts. And it was a bad time. So I understood fully, the spot that Mahmood was in with his Reverb club out in Reading, and they had a GoFundMe going, because that government tells you you're not allowed to provide a living for yourself, and everyone has to stay at home and fuck themselves. But offering zero compensation at the time, or any even committing to offer financial assistance, you still got to pay your bills. You still have to pay your rent and not rent. No one had to pay rent, but if you actually own something, you had to still pay your fucking taxes and your, utilities. And so we fucking did a benefit show for him. I'm really proud to say, I mean, I think we sent out, well, I know what amount we sent out, but it was worth doing, regardless. We had something to cry about on Twitter about it, but that's hardcore, that's America. The people that didn't want to come, didn't come. The people that did came. No one got sick even,
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember when. So I'm trying to remember the timeline. So there was the Madball show, right, in Tompkins Square Park, and it caused all that controversy. Then like a week later, there was a show out here in LA, put on. Like it was like underneath this freeway, and it was like this crazy thing. People were like, are you gonna go? Are you not gonna go? And for me at that point, I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna go. This is something that I don't want to miss, and something I've been wanting to do for a long time. And
that's hardcore.
Yeah, and same thing, right? It's like I hit up some close friends. I'm like, hey, I'm rolling out to this thing. Do you guys want to go? They said no. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going. Like, peace. And it was fine. Like at that point, I was just like, all right, I'm over this. I want to go enjoy my life. If I get sick, that's my own choice. But luckily, I went and had fun, and I got out with no health issues.
That is what we call liberty, the freedom to live your life. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I thought those two shows were so cool because they were on like the big scale, right? They were nice and public and everything. I mean, I gotta say though, we were the fucking first show probably in like the world. We're talking like April 2020 here. So
that's
crazy. If anyone wants to beat me to that one, feel free. But I'm making claim first hardcore show in the world. So
yeah,
prove me wrong otherwise.
Yeah, because at that point, everything was on hold. So many tours got canceled. Nobody wanted to do anything. So
large gatherings weren't allowed in most states until the summer of 2021, spring of 2021, I think, at the earliest, and that was like Oklahoma and shit.
Yeah, see, and I totally forgot about that. There were like large gatherings weren't allowed because now it's like, dude, I'm going to, like, I was on an airplane. I was just in Pennsylvania, so it's just, that's the kind of stuff that wasn't really happening back then.
You came out for the hardcore Pride weekend.
I did. I'm such a fan of Pennsylvania hardcore, and I'm obviously friends with Carter Holmes, who runs From Within Records. So I always have to support what he's doing because I'm obviously a fan of the label of the bands that he's doing, but just the whole thing about showcasing your label and obviously getting your friends' bands to play. It's such a cool thing in my opinion. So I just didn't want to miss it.
Yeah, I would have liked to have been there. That was our first show at our new spot, unfortunately. So kind of had to be there for that.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to get to that because I recently had on Ty Dawson from Pain Clinic on, and
I heard, and
I had no idea that there's like this whole new venue happening. So I'm just curious if you can speak on that, because Preserving Underground, that was just a basement, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to put it, but it's a 350 cap venue, which is in a basement. I mean, in our original spot, we were the one I just said where we were doing all those shows and shit. Yeah, we were in like a real small, probably like 7,500 person room, something like that. But in this new building, we've been running Preserving Underground now for, I guess, 2 years now. Like I said, shows started happening, like official, like real shows or whatever, started happening like spring of 2021. So our first show, I think, was May of 2021 or something, Kubla Khan Chamber. But yeah, that still exists. We have the chapel. This building I bought is like a 19,000 square foot complex. We utilize it currently for the record store, Preserving Underground. I have like an Airbnb in there. But now the chapel, we also now just renovated and turned into a concert venue. It's 800 cap venue. First show is that weekend of Hardcore Pride. So yeah, that's our new venture. One show under the belt, got it off the ground, and now we're getting things lined up for the summer and fall and whatever needs done.
And is a DIY venue, or are you going to team up with like Live Nation or any of that?
No, it's DIY. We're doing a lot of the in-house booking. Drusky Entertainment is a promoter that books a lot of shows there. He's an independent promoter, so it's open to, if local bands want to rent it and do their own release show or, whatever. We're down for pretty much everything other than probably like EDM and shit, just because I don't want to deal with it. But in general, we're open to pretty much everything.
That's awesome. Because it's always hard to find a venue, because even out here, right, even though I retired, even just like trying to find other options to do like a little bit like mid-tier stuff, because I couldn't handle anything like huge. So to just find like a nice mid-sized venue to want to do a hardcore show, it was almost impossible.
Yeah, I think it's being made that way on purpose. Just in general, concert venues are all being gobbled up. You saw at the beginning of it was with everyone shuttering for COVID and then getting themselves in desperate spots. A lot of the venues got bought up by Live Nation. They're just making it, a lot of the insurance companies all folded or probably didn't fold. They just, got out of the, concert venue insurance world or whatever they did, because no one thought it was going to ever come back or whatever. So it's next to impossible to like pull it off, at least legally and, done right. There's a lot of barriers set up, but we fought through them and, made sure we got everything done right so that we're untouchable, So, but it's set up to, they want it to really be consolidated and truly just be like a fucking monopoly on all concert venues. I mean, I know people have been like bitching about that for decades now, but it's true. You know what I mean? They just want to control every aspect of it. And you see what happens with this whole, current thing with ticket fees, the whole national conversation on that. It's like, yeah, because they're streamlining everything into Ticketmaster. And this is now they're owned by the same fucking people, and this is what happens. So
yeah, for the longest time I didn't realize record labels and like these entertainment companies even had a hand in like music venues. I always was like dumb and ignorant and thought that these things like stood separate from that. But
yeah, it's good to see people having more of an idea of what's going on now, because I mean, shit, even until all this came up, I think the Blink-182 ticket fees were the one that really blew the lid off of it, but it was boiling up leading up to that. Because the ticket fees have always been absurd, but they got especially out of hand over COVID because, you got these Live Nation and Ticketmaster. I mean, if they were ever going to fail, that was going to be the time, obviously, and they just had anyway, they were fucking desperately like scraping and trying to find ways to like get those few extra bucks and take advantage of the fact that people were just so excited to come back to live music that they'll fuck it, we'll pay double the ticket fees that we used to pay. We're so desperate, we don't care. And they just took advantage of it, and people are starting to catch on to it and hopefully getting sick of it.
I don't think so, because I started going to K-pop concerts, and so like going to like concerts is like a new thing to me, right? Because like going to a hardcore show, it's like, all right, I'll just roll up to the door and buy a ticket, because 9 times out of 10 it's not sold out, or if it is, the homie will just let you in, take your money, let you in, whatever. Yeah. But with going to these like concerts, it's like, oh, you got to get your your verified pre-sale fan code to just get into the queue. And then if you get in the queue, hopefully you get a good spot to, buy tickets. And if you're slow to the trigger, it's like they do these weird tier prices where like, as like, tickets are selling, the ticket prices just rise. And it's like, what the fuck? This is crazy. It's like this whole thing. And then, up until I met my friend Lonnie, shout out Lonnie from Louisville, who has like crazy internet. She always gets early in the queues. Like she just got me front row seats to this concert in June, which is insane. But most times I'm paying resale. I'm paying like thousands of dollars to go see this K-pop group because I couldn't get a retail ticket because it's like nearly impossible, or I'm like losing out to bots. It's insane.
Yeah, that's industry shit. You know what I mean? It's a shame that's our goal, is to like keep any of that out of what we're doing, And we at the, I don't say the old spot because it still exists, but Preserving Underground, we had, some pretty major artists that have done underplays there, like Beartooth and Neck Deep or whatever. And obviously, these are bands that sell the place out in like under an hour kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I went through those are obviously, they become targets for like ticket scalpers, I went through every single ticket individually, and anyone that looks suspicious, like someone fucking buying a ticket from California, I message people, I give them their chance to like convince me that they're actually coming to the show. And if not, I'll fucking cancel their ticket and sell it to someone that I know actually wants to be there. And, we have that luxury of being able to do that now. I hope we can continue doing things like that now that we're operating on this larger scale and a much more frequent level of having sold out shows. But I'm giving my best shot because I don't know, all this shit's gotten so out of hand. Everything's becoming so commercialized. This whole thing is kind of like our spite venue. We want to like strike back at everyone that has made going to a concert like not fun.
Yeah, it's strange. Don't want to name any names, but this most recent show that I booked, the powers that be wanted me to use a more professional site. So I did, because before, for all the shows before, I used to sell tickets through my own website, right? jmrk.com. I would charge zero fees. You literally pay the same money that you're paying at the door. You could just do it online. And the powers that be were like, no, that's a weird URL, sending people to your website. And I was like,
yeah, it's a weird URL. We don't get $5 every time someone buys a ticket. It's real weird.
Yeah, so I was like, fine. I was just like, I'll compromise, right? So I, went to the professional site, sold less tickets than I normally did when I was using my own website. And I was like, probably because they don't want to pay those stupid fees. It was a little frustrating because it's just like why are we going through this big company when they're just taking money? Like, you're not seeing any of that. They're just taking money for letting us host it when I could literally do it on my website, and it looks way cooler. It pissed me off so much.
I don't know the arrangement you're talking about or referencing, but I will say, no, promoters do tack on fees sometimes. Like, there's a base fee that it just is what it is. So we currently use Ticket Leap. I think I'm switching over to eTix. Doesn't matter. They're all any non-Ticketmaster affiliated place. I've bounced between a few based off of their customer service, but there's a flat fee that I have no say in. So like on a $20 ticket, it's usually like $283, $290 something, and that's whatever. That's fine. Like, to be blunt, if it's $3, if you're sweating on $3, maybe don't go to the show. But there's options to just, like, I could just make the fucking ticket fee $8 if I felt like it, and just pocket that other $5.07 or whatever. Like, promoters do that shit for sure.
Yeah.
So
slimy.
Yeah, there may be someone profiting off that other than the ticketing company.
Yeah, and it was just so frustrating because it's like, for me, it's like I'm not doing this to make money. I have a job. I have other ways to make money. I'm not booking shows to make money.
Yeah.
So it was just so frustrating.
I don't want to come off like I'm telling you how to do your own thing at all, but I will say, if you name names, you'll get more viewers. I'll tell you that much. You see, I'm always a fan of naming names. It keeps people on their toes.
Yeah. It's becoming more public behind the scenes, so shit's gonna get out eventually, but I don't fucking care. Because like I said, at this point, I'm just frustrated, but we'll get there. Just keep listening to the podcast. It'll come out at some point. But anyways, but I am curious because I didn't know this is like you said it was like a complex or a compound.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's a big ass building. That's a.
And was that always the plan to renovate and graduate to having the option to have a bigger venue to bring bigger shows?
I used to work at a similar venue called Altar Bar, which is like a Pittsburgh legend at this point.
Okay.
I worked there for 10 years just as like stagehand production manager or whatever at the time. So the first thing that crossed my mind when I saw this place is like, oh shit, Altar Bar Part 2, we could, because that place closed down in 2015. But yeah, I could definitely miss that place. But honestly, the place is like too nice. It gets all original, like Tiffany stained glass, all these original chandeliers up in the ceiling, all this like amazing pristine woodwork up in the ceiling. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, all the other shit like was fucked up. Like the floor was disgusting, the walls were like coming in, the ceiling was coming in, but like all the actual important original shit was there. So I like didn't want to let like drunk metal dudes like fuck it up, So we held off. I was initially going to utilize it as like a wedding venue. And I went through a divorce, and that was going to be like my ex's contribution. And I'm not trying to deal with like brides. So then that one kind of fell off the table. And then I was running it as an Airbnb because I have another Airbnb in the building, and that one gets booked every weekend. But then for some reason, this one like wasn't. I don't know. I always feel like I need to be utilizing my space. And it just wasn't getting utilized. So I was like, fuck it. Now's the time. Ty, actually, who you said you already did a thing with from Pain Clinic, he expressed interest in kind of getting his foot in the door as far as helping booking shows. I got a guy who also straight edge that I actually trust to properly manage the bar, because that's not something I have any idea how to do. Mm-hmm. So I got the right people in the mix now that can help keep the gears turning, because it's just, I'd say I currently do the job of like 5 or 6 people, but this is now the job of like 7 or 8 people, and that's just out of my range, I think. So having these guys on board made me feel confident enough to take it to that next level.
Yeah, for sure. You don't want to spread yourself too thin, because then shit's going to start to crumble.
Yeah, that tends to happen.
And I'm curious about this Airbnb. Like, okay, say somebody books the Airbnb, can they stroll over to the show, or do they have any perks, like maybe like free tickets?
It's a little hard to explain. I mean, now the way it is, when we have a show in the main room, I just take it down for the night. It's like it would be on like it's hard to explain. But currently, yeah, I mean, when it's downstairs in Preserving Underground and the Airbnb's upstairs, it's usually like college kids booking it to fucking like have parties and shit. So they just like come down and see someone spin kicking and think it's hilarious, and then they go back upstairs and get drunk. That's
wild. I'm really curious. I have to check it out at some point, because I had no idea it was this thing. So I think it's awesome.
We'll be doing. We got a meeting tomorrow night actually, and we're gonna throw some big hardcore shit together. So he'll be having a reason to come out this way soon enough.
That's awesome. And what's it like out there in Pittsburgh these days? In terms of hardcore, obviously, Pain Clinic doing their thing, which I think is awesome. And you guys are putting out that new record. But as far as the rest of the scene out there, how would you say it's like these days?
Yeah, I'd say Pittsburgh's the best it's been since I started going to shows. I mean, it's I started going to shows in late 90s, but then got really deeply involved with like the DIY hardcore shit by like 2001 maybe. Mm-hmm. And everything was great then, but like looking back, when you're a kid, you're all wide-eyed, everything seems insane, but then you look back, you're like, wait a minute, there's actually like 50 people at most of these shows. You thought like 75 kids at a show was like this massive success. Now though, and compared to most cities, I mean, Pittsburgh just has like a small population. Like, I don't know numbers, I don't care, but we're like a fourth of the size of Philadelphia, I think, something like that. And like just any city, I think people think Pittsburgh's a big city because our sports teams like are relevant and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, really. But yeah, we're like a big town basically. Our population numbers are like real small. But so we're naturally going to have lower turnouts, but compared to ourselves, like it's the best it's been in over 20 years, I would say. I've been here the whole time, you know. So I'm happy with everything, you know. The bands are relatively consistent here. You know, we have little dips where a lot of our bands just are like mostly inactive. You know, Pittsburgh's a very job first band, third, fourth, or fifth priority in your life. You know what I mean? So that's why you rarely see bands leave Pittsburgh. You know.
Well, yeah, no, I totally understand. I've been wanting to see Steel Nation leave, but I can't remember the last time they left. It might have been in 2009 when I saw them in California.
Yeah, they rarely leave the confines of PA, but that's the reality, man. You know, that's what I mean. Like, none of our bands ever get this like national or worldwide spotlight of like being on the cool label or getting on the cool fests for the most part. You know, and like Joe's one of the few guys with a fest that's ever really like put more than one Pittsburgh ever at one year. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, we kick and scratch. You know, there's always some band from a different city who either has like prettier members or, you know, they have a more liberal message or, you know, whatever it is that makes, you know, your average like 19-year-old kid like a band. You know, shirts with like killing cops on it or something. So it's like, you know, they do these like watered down versions of Pittsburgh bands, but then they get way more attention because they're doing like the socially acceptable version of it, you know. And you know, they're letting this person and this person and this person take money out of their pockets to, you know, put them on that platform. So Pittsburgh, I think, is a little wiser than that, and I think you know, we have a much older scene as well. I go to most cities. I think the average age when I look around the room strikes me as like somewhere between 19 and 23. I think the average age at a Pittsburgh show, and I'm not just talking like an all out war show, I'm talking even fucking like when young bands come through. I think our average age is like 28, 30, something like that, you know, which means for every 18-year-old kid, there's like a 42-year-old guy there as well.
Yeah.
You know, so we have an older scene in general. So I think we're just a little wiser to like, you know, a lot of people have been around for a long time too. So it's just like, and we're not really driven, I think, collectively for the most part by like the fame, the quote unquote, that you know, being on a label or a fest or whatever. So we typically lay low. You know, we write all the music that everyone else just rips off and takes it on tour around the world.
I think that's pretty interesting that you mentioned that you have like an older scene, because yeah, out here, dude, I go to some shows and I feel so old because I'm looking around the room like, geez, like these are kids. I'm 34.
Yeah, you're a little old, but you know, it's all right. I'm older.
Yeah, I'm getting up there. But I think that says a lot too about your scene to have so many older people to actually stick around, because you know, out here it's like like revolving door. Like I'm like, where the fuck did the last crop of kids go?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly, you know, I could sit here and give you a real detailed report on like, you know, the average 3-year lifespan of most, you know, generations, quote unquote. You know, I could, it's 20 to 2023. So in 23 years, I've probably seen like what I would classify as like 6 or 7 like generations of kids who have come and went. You know what I mean? And so that certainly happens here as well. But yeah, the people that you're regularly going to see out, a lot of people, I don't know what it is, or just stubbornness or lack of better things to do in this miserable fucking city. But we stick around for a while.
That's awesome, because like I said, so many people come and go. It's strange to me because I'm like a lifer, right? I've been going to shows, listening to hardcore since I was like a teenager, so I was like 14. So I can't. Maybe, yeah, because I can't imagine going anywhere else, or I can't imagine just like this thing in my life that's so important to me to just get rid of it one day, to be like, oh no, I'm over it, let me go do something else. Like I just can't imagine it, because it's so like a part of me, and I like my life would be so, I feel like empty if I even got rid of it.
Yeah, I definitely got like fed up with shit enough at one point when like there was a bunch of like crew shit going on, and just just all the bands I like were breaking up, and the commercialization, everything. I like tried to get away from it, and it's just like, dude, you just find out the rest of the world is like lamer. So you end up back. But yeah, I've accepted. I accepted at that point that like, okay, I tried my best to get out of this shit. It's not happening. I'm here. I'm here for life now.
Yeah, no, hardcore is definitely like a roller coaster because there's so many things that you find out that bum you out, but then there's so many things about it that you love. So it's just being older and just kind of being able to like look back and thinking about all the things I've experienced and things that I've found out about hardcore that like your normal hardcore kid wouldn't know about. It's just like, all right, this is part of the game. It's not all fun and sweet, but I wouldn't have it like any other way.
Yeah, I've probably said this before. I say it pretty often because there was a big part of realizing like how I can like convince myself. Because I love it overall. Obviously, fucking ultimately, my fucking life is like dedicated to it. But it's just like there is for sure shit that it's just like, how can I, as a fucking rational adult, intelligent human being, like interact with this shit, But hardcore is always going to simultaneously be the coolest thing ever and the lamest thing ever, right? And you just have to pick like what direction am I gonna like focus on? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, what kids calling cops on venues for having shows during lockdown, all the infighting and all the like the fucking whack shit dudes do for like the girls, and it's just everything. It can drive you insane if you fixate and focus on that, or you can focus on the fact that like, oh, it's currently changing. I can see it changing this like 16-year-old kid's life the way that it did mine back then.
Mm-hmm.
And all the good shit. Like, oh, I can fucking have someone when I lose my cell phone in Japan, a friend that I made from fucking trading CDs with is gonna like help me out, get my shit back, and you know what I mean? It's just like that's just pretty unique to hardcore. There's
Mm-hmm.
of course a million different things in the world that people build communities around or whatever, but it's usually just bullshit. Hardcore, I think, is a little bit more what it's meant to be,
100%, yeah, because the reason why I have such a love for Pennsylvania hardcore is just like the friends that I've made through being in the scene, being able to fly to Philly and get housed, have people drive me around and just have solid friendships and just see good people, hear good music. It's just, yeah, I don't know anything like it. Like, I'm obsessed with K-pop. I have my Discord friends. There's like 5 of us in there. We're super close. We all love each other. But outside of that, fuck, the rest of the community is weird and not what I want to really be a part of. So it's just like when I look at hardcore, it's just like super special and like, yeah, like there's nothing else like it in the world.
Yeah, well said. Vogel would approve.
Shout out Terror, love Terror. One thing I didn't ask you about those singles that you guys were dropping. Who designed that art, and can you talk about like do those characters have special meanings?
Yeah, so Chris Smith, around here everyone knows him. He does most bands, logos, flyers, CD layouts. I'm actually really impressed by the work he just did on our the layout for the full length. Like I said, I gave him like a kind of blank slate, blank check, told him to make it as cool as he can, and I'm really happy with it. He moved to Buffalo recently, which sucks. I like seeing him around, but he's still pretty involved. But as for meaning, yes and no. They kind of just I really love all the artwork from Kentax, this old Japanese artist that did a lot of the late 90s, early 2000s New York area bands for the most part, and Japanese of course as well. You see his work on a lot of like Sworn Enemy, Irate, Billy Club Sandwich, Everybody Gets Hurt, all those kind of bands. He did a lot of artwork for. I'm trying to think though if he did actual album art. I'm sure he has. Nothing's really coming to mind. And he did Not Without Resistance. Point being, I like that artwork. He apparently doesn't do it anymore, or kind of is off the radar, at least off my radar. I don't know how to contact the guy. So I wanted Chris not to knock off his work, but I was like, yo, I like the actual like characters, especially with those singles, so the first guy, we did the one single had the Don't Play That, which is a very much Homie the Clown from In Living Color reference for anyone old enough to know that. So that character is definitely, I think, representative of that. And then on the next one, we did the Natural Born Killers, which is the Dr. Dre and Ice Cube cover, which is also New Jack's theme song when his ECW days. So that character, I think, is some type of hybrid of all those. Someone on Twitter said we were appropriating Black culture for putting a Black character on an album. I was like, okay,
that's so stupid.
Yeah, I didn't know you weren't allowed to put people with different skin colors on your album artwork, but I was like, I don't think it would really make sense to make a New Jack meets Dr. Dre meets Ice Cube character white. I don't, that maybe seems a little weirder to me, but so yeah, they kind of got their places. There's a bunch of characters on the new album artwork, which I guess we'll be putting out the day after you're watching this. So,
and
kind of brought them all together. You know, brought all the songs together. We're gonna bring all the characters together.
Oh, so they'll be making a return for the actual album.
Yeah, they're all in that artwork there.
Okay, awesome. And then you mentioned Natural Born Killers. That's basically like a rap song, which I think is awesome. Can you talk about your actual skills as a rapper? Because I was listening, like, this is insane.
Yeah, I mean, I got to give myself props here. First off, I did that shit in one take. There's a video on my personal Instagram to prove it if no one believes me. But I fucking pretty much hate hip hop. I'm like the only hardcore kid that doesn't front like he actually likes hip hop for the imagery or whatever. But yeah, like I said, I grew up on wrestling, and that was always New Jack's theme. And when that whatever fuck it is missile sound hits, you're just like, all right, New Jack's coming out and gonna fucking nearly kill someone right now. So that song always got me hype, and I always heard it that it could be like a heavy ass song. But yeah, props to myself. I do Dre and Cube's parts pretty fucking well, I'd like to say.
That's crazy. And but you have it on the Bandcamp, Rapcore. Obviously that's like tongue in cheek.
I don't know. It's kind of rap. I mean, especially a lot of those singles and new songs. I mean, yeah, I can go. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. So you can rap.
We're not beat down, and I was sick of people fucking calling us beat down. So we have beat downs because we're from Pittsburgh and we're fucking hard. But like, we're more than beat down. I will say that. Not that I'm ashamed of the term or some artistic bullshit. When I think beatdown, I think like actual hard dudes, actual fucking hard music. You know what I mean? Like, we got some catchy ass songs. These could be some hit singles. And like alternative rock radio or whatever. So yeah, I think there's more to it than beatdown.
Well, that's fair, yeah, because you don't want to be put in this box because someone who might not even have their own opinions will hear like someone describe your band as a beatdown and might write it off. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not so much worried about getting written off. To be honest, it's as with all things that are cool, if shit got hijacked. I mean, shit, I just said I wasn't gonna, I'd be the namer guys, but I'm only not naming names because I don't fucking remember them. But dude, we did a tour. And I mean, a lot of the bands were cool. I'm not like dissing everyone, but there were certain bands, certain nights where it's just like, Jesus Christ, this is what is like called beatdown now. And some of these fests that we would fucking do, and it was just like deathcore kids just fucking, they think that it's just people who don't really get what beatdown actually is. It's just this like fun little unique thing that they think they want to like play around with. So it's just like, I just never wanted to write another beatdown again, or so I thought after, being exposed to all that shit. So that's why we started writing some butt rock shit,
That's crazy. And I'm still perplexed that you don't like hip hop, but you can rap like that.
I don't know. I'm a musician, like I guess I respect some of these guys, what they can spit is impressive, but like, I like seeing musicians perform live. I feel like I'm not into like sampling or whatever. Like, I mean, you hear it. I mean, that shit is like guitar. Like, we made we could play that song live probably if I ever felt like it would be appropriate. There's actual like instrumentation to it. So
appropriate. I feel like I feel like that song would be appropriate.
Yeah, maybe one day.
Okay.
We do got a guy who does all the scratching, Scumlip Checker Champ. He could set up some turntables one day and probably hook that up.
Okay, maybe for the record release, special event.
Maybe.
Okay, interesting. But
you're thinking about it more than I am. Shit, I forgot we need to do a record release. I guess we got to plan that out tomorrow.
Yeah, because the records pre-orders up, records a couple weeks away. I figured that ought to be in the books because people.
Oh no, it's not.
I've been getting hit up for shows like late summer already.
Yeah, I don't know. People, I think, put too much emphasis on things sometimes. I don't know. I got a lot going on. So you bring up very valid questions. I'm glad I'm doing the podcast. I wasn't even thinking about doing like a pre-order shirt and a album release show. I got to get on the ball.
Okay, but I guess to your advantage, you have your own venue, so that makes it a little easier, right?
Yeah, it makes it a little easier.
Okay, interesting. All right, and when I look back at your Instagram post from July 2022, talking about that show and that it might be it for a while, so that was a planned hiatus.
Kind of. We just had a fill-in drummer that I just I'm not a fan of making fill-ins morph into like full-time members. We're trying to get people that actually, want to be in on this,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want anyone in the band that's not actually like in it. We had some people cut out on us in the past. So we take pretty seriously now who we actually allow to be a member,
So, but the rest of the squad still remains the same.
Yeah, we're all OG except the drummer quit, so that's why we just got to get a drummer, really.
All right. Well, I hope
we had fill-ins when we were doing like the touring and shit, just because, like I said, we all got fucking jobs and careers and shit. So we get some fill-ins for a minute, but that's not really what if I'm not going out with my friends, it's not like we were playing our like biggest or whatever coolest shows at the time, but like I wasn't out with my friends fully, and it just fuck it.
Yeah, I would not like it would be weird to be out on the road and not be with your friends to have fun if it was just someone who was just like doing a job or something. I think that'd be like kind of weird.
Yeah, and props to those dudes for coming out for a little bit for like no money essentially, but I think it showed a lot of them how to like be in a real touring band and do some of the things they're doing now. So hopefully it was helpful to them in that way.
And hardcore moves really fast, so to have to step away, obviously focus on life, businesses, and all that. Were you ever hesitant to come back?
No, I mean we technically never went anywhere really. To be fair, we're probably the only fucking band that played shows in like 2020, 2021, and 2022. Well, some bands probably played 2022, whatever. But you know what I mean? Like we never went anywhere. It's just that. I mean, we were never a touring band. We just honestly, when Joe put us on This Is Hardcore, I take that shit seriously. I don't take that for granted. We wanted to feel like we were giving something back. We went out and did the This Is Hardcore tour or whatever the fuck it was. You know what I mean? And This Is Hard tour maybe. But trying to fucking rally the troops and pull our weight on it. So, but typically, we're very much in the mindset of like, yeah, dude, if you guys really want us to come, we'll come, but we're not trying to like go out and like beg people to like us and promote the band that way. I'm of the mindset of like, oh, you have a show that people actually want us to be at. All right, we'll see if we can do that.
Yeah, because I still think back to your set at FYA. I wasn't there in attendance, but I watched that video on YouTube from time to time.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, that was like they don't even do it there anymore, but that's crazy.
Yeah, they were moving it every other year there for a minute.
Yeah, but the spot that they have it at now, that's like it's a really cool spot because it's big, but I feel like it's like right at the edge where it's not too big. It still feels like a hardcore show.
Yeah, it works for what they're doing. This is the first year I saw they built the stage out a little bigger. This is the first year I wasn't there in a long time actually, but yeah, looks good, looks fitting.
Yeah, I think it's nice because I love.
I don't think you got to take wherever you can get. I mean, it's crazy to me that any venue will take in something as crazy as a hardcore fest. So it's like, fuck, if you find a place, just fucking roll with it.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Because you got to think about all the weirdos that come out and not even that, and even just the moshing to try to explain it to people. It's crazy.
Especially at fests when everyone's trying to like put on a fucking show, slam dunk contest on everyone, and it's insane.
Yeah,
if I was some like rich middle-aged guy that just had this big fucking van, I'd be like, fuck no, you can't do this here. It's fucking insane.
Yeah, I'd be worried about people getting hurt. And surprisingly, like,
wait a minute, I am a rich middle-aged guy, and I do let people do that shit. So I am insane.
True, but I am always surprised at how little, like, casualties there are versus like the amount of hardcore shows with pits that happen. It's crazy.
Yes and no. I mean, actually, it's very funny you just brought that up. So, like, I mean, we just had our first show at the venue was this last Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
It was Body Snatcher. It's heavy music. I think to the outside normal person, it would all seem like the same thing. But, we know the difference between like a Body Snatcher show and fucking FYA Fest or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, shitload of people, sold out show, hundreds of people, and people were moshing and going insane the whole time. There actually wasn't like a single injury. Hardcore show, I mean, even when we fucking had Tsunami, some kid, I think 2 minutes into the pain clinic opening band set, got fucking hit so hard I thought he was dead. He was just laying face down on the ground. He fucking had to get all these stitches in his chin. His front teeth were knocked out. Got a concussion.
God damn.
I thought he broke his jaw. Had to go to the ER. It's just like, Jesus Christ, man, this is not normal. So it gives you, it's like, yeah, it's a little higher in hardcore than it needs to be. But
when something like that happens at your venue, like, do you have a protocol?
Yeah, I mean, make sure they're alive, get them outside. My mom's a nurse, so she's doing a lot of unofficial, suture strips and telling them what they need to tell the person at the ER when they get there, and so we take care of them as best we can. But people usually got to go to the hospital when it's something that level,
Yeah, dude, you get your teeth knocked out, face first on the ground. That's insane.
I'm so glad that I've taken plenty of hits, but my teeth have never gotten knocked out from hardcore. I feel like that would maybe be something that would make me regret. It's like, dude, what the fuck am I doing with my life?
Yeah, I feel like that would make me have to rethink some stuff. Yeah, like, out of all like the mosh pits and stuff, I think the worst I've ever gotten was me from myself. I like did a front flip off this stage and landed on like the cement on my arm, and I thought I broke my arm, but luckily I didn't. But it was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life.
Yeah, this kid was hard. He took it. Sent me a message, said he was apologizing to us because he like interrupted the show. It's like, shit, dude, we're good. Might want to take care of your fucking face now, But
yeah,
he was hard. He messaged us. He said it was his fault. He acknowledged it, and it was whatever.
I just hope he has insurance.
I respect that.
Yeah, that's insane. But
I used to be excited. I mean, not get my teeth knocked out. That's the next level shit, like I just said. But I remember going to high school with like a black guy and being like kind of weirdly excited about it. Not anymore.
Yeah, no, yeah, I remember I broke my hand, but I wasn't moshing. I like punched somebody at a show, and I always felt cool afterwards when I had to tell people like how I broke my hand. But yeah, I was like 19 or something when it happened. So these days that's like shit. I know how to punch it better than back then, but yeah, it's not that cool. I don't want to break any bones. I just want to be healthy. I want to be able to do stuff and injury free.
So that's the dream.
Okay, and the snippet of the new song that you put out, can you talk about that? And can you talk about?
That's actually the whole song.
Oh, that's the whole song.
It's a short ass song. I said what I needed to say real quick in that one.
Oh, that's crazy because I thought it was a snippet.
No. We trimmed the fat,
Okay, straight to the point.
Yeah. But no, there's 6 new songs, I think. Yeah, 6 new songs. They're all very heavy, to the point. Yeah, I guess very serious. I mean, it's always been a serious band. We just don't. It always bothers me when people think we're a joke band.
Okay.
Like, hence the title, "Joke's on You," because we're not a fucking joke band. I think we just don't take the route of many other bands of portraying ourselves as harder than we are.
Mm-hmm.
I've been around long enough to see actual hard dudes and actual hard bands, and we're not it. We just write heavy ass riffs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's certainly some satirical elements to it, some cynicism for sure. But I don't know. To me, especially the all the songs from 2020, those songs are I don't know. I don't reveal all my secrets, but I think if an intelligent person like yourself really reads the lyrics, you might see what's actually being said. It's
Yeah,
not always what's presented on the surface. I'll say that much.
yeah. I shouldn't be shocked, but it's kind of surprising like how many people like don't actually like listen to the music.
What do you mean?
Like they just they'll like a band, they'll go to shows, but then like they don't know anything about the music they're listening to.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's worse in California too, but yeah, I mean, just bigger cities in general. It's just like there's a lot of places I've seen which are definitely it's a fucking social event. They're
Mm-hmm.
all going. They're listening to fucking like Doja Cat and fucking Harry Styles on the way home. The thing that's it's like ironic hipster shit. You know what I mean? It's just like I don't get me wrong. I fucking listen to everything. I mean, don't get me wrong. A lot of this is hardcore, but there's plenty of other shit. I own a record store. I'm pretty fucking open minded to music. I'm not saying you can or should only listen to one style of music, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm I don't know. Theoretically, hardcore should be your favorite if that's what you're like out there tattooing on yourself and presenting yourself as, and getting your teeth knocked out of your face for. Like, I don't know, like that. I would think that would be your fucking favorite then, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It could be an outdated line of thinking, maybe, but yeah, most people. I mean, I know they don't a lot of times, and this is, I guess, what circumstantial evidence. But I mean, when the kid who has been going to shows for a year and a half comes into my store and sells me his whole record and shirt collection, because he needs some cash or this or that, and then I never see him again after that. But the records are always mint. The shirt's worn because he's got to have the image. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, motherfucker, you ain't listening to this. You fucking put on the show. So
That's crazy. I
I
remember
don't disagree.
that's pretty funny. And
Yeah,
do you ever ask them like why they're dropping out, or you just
nah, it's standard procedure. It's all good.
standard procedure? That's funny. I've never had to do that.
I mean, it doesn't have to be some fucking lifelong thing for everyone. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
shit, that person came, dropped maybe collectively a couple grand on shows and merch and help fans get from point A to point B. That's cool. You don't have to be like psychotic in this for life, like, some of us may be, but if that is you, that's cool. You're welcome. But just like, don't think for a second that like your opinion or your fucking voice matters as much as the people who are like really making this happen, like putting their necks on the line, booking the shows, whatever. Uh, and I think it's my pet peeve with it. I don't think the kid who it's his first show or 2000th show, you both paid the same money. Actually, the kid who's at his first show probably paid, and the guy who's at his 2000th show probably fucking got on the guest list or something.
Yeah.
But it's just like, that's all equal, that's all cool, but like when it comes time to like decisions are being made or things that matter, it's just like, shut the fuck up. People here's opinion matter more than yours. And that's what I dislike about I think I guess the leveling that the internet, I won't name names on this one, but it's just the kid who's been around for 6 months, his say it's just not the same as someone that has lived this. You know what I mean? It's just not. That's all there is to it.
Is it weird for me to want everyone to be that lifer, down to support, be about it?
I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, sounds picturesque, pretty ideal, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know. It's not realistic, but be nice, wouldn't it? Everyone's in it for the right intentions. To be honest, when I go to, it's a big part of why I love going to Japan, because I do kind of get that vibe over there. And maybe it's because I'm, a little bit, I don't want to say disconnected, but like, yeah, I don't know the ins and outs of everything over there. Maybe people are fucking just as whack here or there. I don't know, but I feel I sense it, and I'm pretty good at, even though I don't speak the language or this or that, like, I don't know, reading the room, feeling the vibe. Like, it strikes me when I'm over there that the people are there have a higher level of sincerity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for sure. I mean, the average age over there is like fucking 40, I think, which is awesome. Like, these people genuinely live it, and it does make for, in my opinion, better shows and a better feel, better bands for sure. So, Yeah, it'd be nice, but
yeah, you know, when I like, even after like I've been going to shows for so long, got the podcast, whatever, like when I walk into a room, I feel like I'm just like on the same level as everybody else. I'm there to support, try to pay. You know, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I am on the guest list, but I'm not out there seeking to be on every guest list. Like I flew to Philly to go to Hardcore Pride weekend. You know, paid money to get in the show. I didn't expect any special treatment. I'm like, I'm just like everybody else, right? So I would hope that everybody, like when I look around the room, I'm just like, man, I hope everybody is just as dedicated as I am. But obviously, not everybody is. But that's just something that I always, you know, hope we could get to. But obviously, that's never going to happen.
Yeah, there was some, you know, I of course the algorithm shows me hate 5-6 videos when I'm scrolling through Facebook or whatever. But there was some quick snippet from just last week or something of some, I don't know what band it was, unfortunately, because I really fucking liked the speech, but you know, he's just
Mind
going
Force.
off. Was it about like how the fucking people who they start a band and then they fucking think they're too good to fucking ever like go to other shows and pay and support and whatever, that whole speech?
Oh shit! Oh no, then you're talking about the Off the Tracks clip. That was Bob Wilson.
No, okay, I should have known. So yeah, you know what I mean. There you go. See, I shouted him out without even knowing. I'm not even kissing ass. But yeah, you know, I do. I see that shit all the time. You know, it's sometimes the dudes that have been around too long, maybe they too comfortable or think that they're the fucking everyone should be bowing down to that shit. Whereas in reality, it's the excited 16-year-old kid that's coming and paying for every show, being there for the opening bands, buying the fucking merch. You know, not going up and asking for a free shirt or whatever. So that's what I mean. It's all situational. I think more so what I was just a prime example. And I think I maybe got cut off in the middle of my rant before I got to this point, but it's just like, I don't know, dude, when you were like 15 and going to your first show, would you walk up to whoever the fucking California equivalent of like Richie Crutchell is or some shit and just like start like busting his balls or fucking talking shit to him? You know what I mean? It's just, there's a little bit of a fucking pecking order or something, you know? It's just, you can't put it into words. Just be a fucking normal person and like, be respectful and understand your place in the grand scheme of things.
Mm-hmm.
If I found some new hobby tomorrow, I wouldn't kick in the front door and within a week start like telling people what's up and how they should do their shit.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Like, I always bring it back to K-pop, but when I got into K-pop, but when I would show up to the local record stores, I would be like, "Hey, I'm new. Like, you know, can I get some suggestions? Point me in the right direction." And then obviously, like, I'm going to develop my own taste, but I would like to, you know, hear it from the people who are way more experienced from me, and you know, take it day by day. Like, I'm not showing up, you know, day one at the K-pop store and trying to tell them like what's up, you know.
Yeah, you approach it humbly. You don't act like you're the fucking know-it-all on day one. You know what I mean? That's just like being a non-annoying human being. You know, that's not even something you should do just in hardcore. It should be your job, your fucking relationships, anything.
Yeah, it's
love K-pop. I will say you do love K-pop.
I do. Okay, is there any K-pop in Preserving Underground?
Probably not.
Okay,
but I would love to because apparently people spend a lot of money on it. So
yeah, when
tell me what I got to stock.
Okay, I'll send you a list.
Don't say it right now because no one wants to hear it on this podcast.
You'd be surprised. Like it's crazy when I'm out, you know, when I'm in Philly and I got people coming up to me saying, "Hey, like, you know, I'm just getting into K-pop. Like, what should I listen to?" That gets me excited. I'm like, all right, say less. Like, I'll talk your ear off when it comes to K-pop.
I'm not surprised by anything. These motherfuckers like anime. So the floodgates are open.
Yeah, because I was in Philly, no local K-pop stores around. If I wanted a K-pop album, I'd have to travel to New York. So yeah, you could be the K-pop spot.
You specialize in all the other shit that like no one cares about. So you know, I'm down.
Okay, I'll send you a list and go from there.
I'm serious. I want a fucking list.
Okay, no, I will 100% send you a list. It's gonna be good. I'll send you key items that will move as long as people know that it's there.
I'll tell you this much, and we're gonna start the state rivalry up again. If you came to a show in Pittsburgh, no one's asking you what K-pop album they want to listen to. So we got that on Philly.
Okay, all right, that's fair. That's funny, but I would be surprised. But Okay, so no K-pop from the older dudes. Maybe some young kids coming up.
I'd probably love it if I knew what the fuck it was. So
okay.
I can't talk shit.
For sure. There's a. I will argue that there's a K-pop group out there for everyone.
J-pop would probably be more my thing. Okay. I do know there's a difference between J and K-pop.
Yeah,
that's the extent of what I know. I'm just going with Japan on this one.
Okay. What about, check this out. There's a Japanese group who have invaded K-pop, which never happens. And and people were pissed off about it. Like the local Koreans were like buying tickets to their shows just to show up and not cheer for them to let them know like, yo, like you're not welcome, motherfuckers.
It's like the Asian equivalent of like Shattered Realm.
I'm trying to figure out. Okay, sure.
Close enough.
Okay, yeah. So, but I listened to some. There's some groups out there that I listen to from Japan that make Japanese music, and there's like nothing but bangers. I'm like, how is this even possible? Like
this is where turning the podcast off, for the record.
No. People love this. People love hearing.
Way to measure metrics. I'm curious how many people listen. You know how to tell when they fast forward or?
Yeah. See, I tell people, because people ask like, "Hey, how did my episode do?" or whatever. I just tell people, "Hey, I'm like Netflix. You did good. I'm still here. If I'm still in this seat, the podcast is going good." I tell everybody, when we reach 0 listeners, 0 support, I'm gone. I get it.
All right. That's a good way to make it.
But we're here. We're end of last year. I haven't checked recently. So end of 2022, we were in like 42 different countries. I'm sure we've expanded. So people listen. I'm surprised. I'm always surprised that people still listen because I'm just a normal dude.
I'm just not a podcast guy, so I have no concept of like how many people listen. I don't know.
I think people.
I wouldn't listen to myself.
Yeah, but same here. I'm not tuning into my own podcast. Like I have to hear it 2 times because I have to edit it, and that's frustrating enough. But I'm sure whenever I bring up Facewreck or it's nothing but respect. So I think people will be interested.
That's cool.
Yeah. But going back to the band, albums coming out. No drummer, but do you want to do more shows, or are you going to keep it very limited in 2023?
Yeah, it'll be limited no matter what. I mean, we got a guy lined up that'll fill in like if he has to, but that's the thing, you know what I mean? I'm trying to, us getting together to practice is rare enough. I hate to keep teaching the same damn songs. Although when we play, we're going to play like pretty much all new shit. So, I guess we have to learn it all anyhow. But, I write everything for the most part. Randy, our guitar player, like makes it like good. I write the songs. Randy makes it like good, like real music, and then just kind of do studio magic to make it appear. But we bring it live. I actually, a video kind of got posted. I kind of flew under the radar of our not the last show. That one was bad. But we opened for Terror when they came through with their tour with like fucking Pain of Truth and Kubla Khan and Sanguisuga Bog. And I fucking watch his like soundboard recording and shit. I'm like, holy fuck, we are a good ass band. I take pride in that too, because now there's been this paradigm shift. It used to be hardcore bands had these horrible recordings, but you see them live in some fire hall and it's fucking the most incredible thing you've ever seen. They just couldn't afford a good recording, Where now it's, it sounds like better than a Metallica recording, and you see it live because it's all, fake. You see it live and it's just like embarrassing. Like they can't even tune. They can't hit his drums. So there's been this weird paradigm shift. I don't even decide if I like a band until I see them live at this point, because I could program in a fucking masterpiece demo right now, by the time we're podcast. So I take pride in that we are a good ass band live. I don't see that too often. We're always like well rehearsed, even with fill-ins. I don't see that too often. A lot of times I see bands live, I feel like I'm just like watching them practice. Like, oh, what song's next, dude?
Yeah, it is interesting when they don't have to be super professional about it, but it is weird. We're like, oh wow, you guys literally don't know what you're doing up there.
Yeah, I don't like to waste anyone's time, so we get up and get out. Especially, oh my god, on a fest, I mean, fucking bands on stage like putzing around.
Yeah,
dude, come on.
that's the worst.
I'm gonna post that video now I think about it. I'll post that tomorrow.
Yeah, I want to see it because I am curious.
3 days ago from when this interview is happening.
Okay, and so you mentioned Japan way earlier. If you make it to Japan, would you wrap it up then, or would you want to continue even after you realize that dream?
That's a great question. It'll probably exist forever out of spite. There's a certain little subsect of people we've hurt feelings of, and I want to like let them know that they will never like have any say over like what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll probably always exist just for that, if nothing else, you know.
Petty, but I love it.
Oh yeah, of course. I can be petty in spare amount of time I got, you know.
100%.
It's good to remind people that like, yeah, they're powerless. They are weaponless. One of our new songs, like, go ahead, fucking who. There's just been this false notion, as with most things in life, this false notion of like, oh, I have this power. I have a fucking internet account. I can sway this power over people. You fucking can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little uproar about us for a minute. I think we lost 7 Twitter followers or something, and it was like within 24 hours, it was like dead in the water. You know, certain people who like politicize their bands and try to, you know, they're trying to make a career out of what they do are now like afraid to talk to us or something. But like, literally never once has anyone like come up to us at a show, ever fucking said anything. It's faux outrage. You know what I mean? It's not real. It's 5-7 people on the internet. You know what I mean? And then the only true effect it can have is if you are trying to get something from these bands that are worried what these 5 or 7 people say or think. But if you don't need or want anything from those bands, then there's no, or labels or promoters or whatever. These people have no power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people try to cancel people online. Obviously, they're not even capable of fighting 9 out of 10 times. So, like, what is the repercussion then?
Yeah, no, I get it. When I went to that bridge show that I mentioned earlier,
so people about that.
People were like pissed off at me. They're like, "I can't believe you went. You're horrible." I was like, "Dude, get over it."
Did anyone do anything to you? Did anyone do anything other than cry?
No, they just unfollowed me. which is fine. I don't care. I'm not gonna live my life to try to please people on the internet, you know.
Yeah, and that's, you know, it's the antithesis of hardcore, is trying to cater to everyone. Like, I don't know, like most things. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are things that I've heard where like I myself have went and handled a person because I don't appreciate how they either treated said, you know, X, Y, or Z woman, fucking other friend of mine, or whatever it may be, you know. But at the same time, it's like half the things that I hear or read, I'm just like, oh, I'm supposed to be mad about this? It's like, yeah, I mean, like, not all people involved in this thing are nice people. You know, it's just like, we're angry people, most of which need therapy for sure. And, you know, what's the Christian gimmick? Like, cast the first stone bullshit. Like, who the fuck? You know, I don't know. I don't hear things too often that are as like punishable by death, essentially. You know what I mean? Punishable by social death. You know, it's just like, yeah, the person's an asshole. It's why they're here instead of at a fucking like hockey game or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And when I see these people making these weird like takes about hardcore on the internet, it's like, dude, I've never even seen you at a show. I don't know what you do for hardcore besides, you know, be on the internet. So that's why, like, I never take that stuff so serious or let it like upset me to where I'm having arguments with people on the internet. I'm just like, I just laugh at it because I'm like, that shit's not real.
I mean, it's always had that little slant, you know, the whole way back to fucking, you know, Vogel's writing songs back in like Buried Alive days for it, you know, about it. So it's always existed, you know. Keypad Warriors was always his favorite line. But yeah, so it's always existed. But COVID shutdown era, when there wasn't a show to catch someone at the week after they talked their shit and you straighten it out, that's when it got out of hand. And these people were just, they started to believe their own like faux like power that they felt they had. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, keep talking shit and no one's going out in public to like find me and smack me in my mouth. Like, yeah, of course I'm gonna like keep running with this. I feel fucking power for the first time in my life, you know?
Yeah, then when they run into that person, I've heard funny stories about people trying to talk shit behind the scenes, and then they get caught, and it's a whole different story.
Yeah, it's just it definitely put it on the fast track. It made it worse than it maybe ever has been in my experience. I'm sure it was equally bad when like message boards first started, like AOL chat groups or something in the mid 90s. That it probably was bad then. It was like the first time that like a nerd could like talk shit to like, someone actually, worth their weight.
Yeah.
So
for me,
probably bad, but I wasn't there for that.
Yeah, I don't know. I always feel like I had like a different experience. Like when like the B9 board was prominent, I was going on there for like entertainment. I wasn't going in there to be like, pissed off or trying to start arguments. I always wanted to find, like, I always was interested in like people liking MMA because there was like an MMA thread on there. So like, oh, this is cool. Hardcore kids liking MMA. And then I always talk about, there was like this thread where Joe Hardcore was just telling stories, like legendary stories about, shit that he's gone through in hardcore, like beating up certain singers and bands and just funny shit. To me,
I gotta find that.
Yeah, it's like just like for me, it's like being like a young kid and like reading like stuff like that stuff that I, was found entertaining, and I was never going on the B9 to try to start shit. It was always just trying to gain more knowledge about hardcore and just trying to have fun with it.
Well done.
Okay. Last thing about the record, will there be any music videos tied to it?
Yeah, actually, that's another thing we like forgot about. Like, oh yeah, we're like a music video band. We should probably make a music video.
Yeah, I was hoping.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be. Yeah, it's I'm not trying to be dramatic, man. Like a lot of people always use like being busy as like an excuse to like, I don't know, be lazy.
Mm-hmm.
But no, we're truly like, I mean, we're doing some wild shit. So I'm sure it'll happen. I have no fucking idea when. The ideas also like come to me in dreams sometimes. So, we'll see. I honestly have an amazing one lined up in my head now that I think about it that we were going to do. It's for one of the songs that we did the singles for.
Mm-hmm.
But we couldn't pull it off because I'm kind of a fan of attention to detail, and I couldn't find the right costume for it. But my new loving, beautiful, wonderful girlfriend is quite the seamstress, and she actually made me said costume. I don't want to give any spoilers.
Okay.
Christmas. So now that I think about it, shit, I guess I could probably do that video now.
Yeah, please. I would love to see this idea.
You need to be our manager.
But what's crazy is I've been asked to be. I don't want to say names because they're still a band that I fully support. But like I've been asked to like manage bands before, and I'm like, dude, no. Like you'll find somebody else that would be way better for the job. Because of me, it's not it. Because I don't want to ruin your career. I'm just a hardcore dude.
You're the idea guy. You got more ideas for Facewreck than I do.
Okay, and I'll do it for free because I'm a fan.
All right.
And okay. So first show under the belt. When's the next one?
When we get a drummer, which will be when Joe finalizes this show he's been telling us about for like 6 months. So
okay,
that's probably will go in that order. Joe will confirm this show. Theoretically, he asks us to play if he still wants us to, and then I'll be like, okay, yes, and then I'll be like, okay, we actually need a fucking drummer now. So that'll probably be the order of events. But there's a cool younger band from Pittsburgh that's wanting us to play a show actually at my spot. We're going to try to make that happen. That's in July.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully figure it out before then. I mean, with the new album, I don't know. Hopefully when people hear the new songs, I think that'll, I should put out a little thing. That'd probably be a good first step. Telling people we need a fucking drummer. But yeah, I'm sure we've had people offer, but like I said, we're unfortunately a little picky, and it's like, yeah, we want a really good drummer, and you got to play for nothing, essentially.
Yeah, it's an interesting gig.
Yeah, it's a great fucking job. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll figure something out, but we got some shit. We'll be doing some shit this year.
And I'm curious about preserving underground. There was like a museum portion where people could donate like memorabilia. Is that still a thing?
Yeah, it's still there. It keeps getting moved to smaller and smaller rooms, unfortunately, because where it was is now where we have like a DIY room,
mm-hmm.
which is like 75. Yeah, we've squeezed 100 in there, but like a 75 person, 100-person room that we do like real small shows in. We did like the Year and the Knife show in there, Last Wishes when they come through, that kind of stuff, So yeah, we prioritize that. So now this old like broom closet is now the hardcore museum, but it's the same amount of shit. It just keeps getting condensed. So there's just as much information and nostalgia in there. It's just, space is getting eaten up. 19,000 square foot building, and it's fucking full at this point.
Okay. Any thought to, create a dedicated space for it?
Buy another building, maybe. I don't know. I heard Fat Mike from NoFX is making like a punk rock museum.
Yeah, I think it's already a thing.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, so that's the crazy part. Even that'll probably be some fucking big money maker. Like even punk rock is like so much fucking bigger than hardcore, and like just has so much more money in it. It's so crazy. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. When things get a little too professional, that's when I start to get turned off.
Yeah, half the people like punk are fucking not people I'm trying to hang out with. So
for sure. Okay. Well, AJ, thank you for coming back. I looked at when the last time you were on, and it was episode 47, which is crazy. We're at this episode will be 369.
Jesus Christ, you talk a lot.
I love talking.
Yeah. Well, that's what the podcasts are for, right?
100%. But before we sign off, is there anything else you would like to say or mention that we didn't cover?
No, like I said, pre-orders go up April 1st. If you believe us, you will theoretically receive your album on April 21st. Maybe you'll see us on some shows. Maybe you should come to Pittsburgh if you want to see us. That's the other thing, man. We can't go to everyone's fucking city. You come to us. How about that?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm literally gonna call my buddy Jeff from Feet First Productions, and I'm gonna try to convince him to travel to Pittsburgh so we can go down there and try to film something.
All right.
Okay.
Those guys came here for something. I know that name, Feet First. Were they here on the Code Orange fucking live stream thing that Sonny did?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Shout out Jeff. He's really talented. He's a good friend.
Did they film LDB?
No, that was Sonny.
No, I'm talking the year we played, 2020.
No, I'm pretty sure Jeff has never filmed it because he's more like sticks to like the Northeast.
Well, whoever filmed that, release the Facewreck footage.
Oh man, good luck.
The only band footage never went up, and we had like the biggest pop other than the fucking like secret Knox set. Like,
oh man, yeah, there was a whole drama with that, which is like when it gets explained to me, I'm just like, none of this makes sense. Like, it sounds like all this could have been avoided.
Drama with the footage from that year?
Yeah, I don't know how much I should say publicly, but I'll tell you off air.
I'll call you since you don't want ratings on your fucking show. You can call me and tell me privately.
Okay. All right. Well,
we could title LDB footage mystery solved.
No, it's pretty. It's people know that there's an issue because obviously like the whole year is missing practically.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. I never really searched for anyone other than ours. But
okay, yeah, I'll tell you about it.
One band they didn't put up or something. So
no, there's a whole thing. Okay.
All right, I'm calling you in like 2 minutes. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you, AJ, again. I really appreciate your time. Go pre-order the new album and hopefully Facewreck coming to a city near you. Or everybody go to Pittsburgh. Support Preserving Underground and go check out the new venue. Thank you.